Welcome back to Wheel and Command Pro Tips. In this episode, I'm going to talk about CenCom Core's My Hardware screen. So if you're already familiar with Command, you'll see that the My Hardware screen doesn't look that different than how it does in our WeCan generation hardware, but there are still some minor things to cover. Starting in the top left, you'll see there's a new Quick Start section, and you'll see that there's a Detect via USB button that's currently disabled. This button becomes enabled when you have a CenCom Core connected to your computer. Clicking the button is going to pre-fill the My Hardware list with any hardware that's connected to your CenCom Core and has power. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the CenCom Core to my computer so the button becomes enabled. So now that Windows sees my CenCom Core is connected, I can go ahead and click the button. If you see this window pop up, it means that you have some hardware connected to your CenCom Core that Command can't accurately specify. You'll see this window if you have any WeCan generation hardware connected to your CenCom Core, and with some WeCan X hardware as well. For my example, I have a WeCan X Traffic Advisor connected, but Command can't tell how many light heads it has, so I need to go and manually add the Traffic Advisor. It can also see that there's a control head connected, but it doesn't know what kind it is. I have a WeCan Generation 21 in slide connected. Since it's WeCan Generation, I need to go and manually add it. So once I click OK, any hardware that it was able to specify, it's going to fill into the My Hardware list for me. So you'll see that it was able to successfully detect 2 Remote 16 expansions, and it was able to identify the installation ID on them as well. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say installation ID, please go watch the video on installation IDs. So CenCom Core lets you add duplicates of hardware. The one caveat to that is WeCan generation restrictions still do apply to CenCom Core. So what does that mean? In WeCan, you could only have one control head. And so that holds true for CenCom Core if it's a WeCan generation control head. Since I have a WeCan generation 21 in slide, if I add this and go back into the control head button, you can see that I can't add any more WeCan generation control heads, but I can still continue to add WeCan X control heads. So right now I'm going to add a 21 in slide WeCan X, and you'll see that the control head button didn't become disabled, and I can go ahead and add another one if I want. So continuing with the WeCan restrictions in mind, it holds true for the light bar as well. So if I go under Design Light Bar, you can see that I can add either a WeCan X light bar or a WeCan generation light bar. If I add a WeCan generation light bar, I can't add any more WeCan generation light bars. I'm now locked into only being able to add WeCan X generation light bars. So let's cover some of the new hardware options that we have. We have the new remote expansion button, which lets you add either a 8 output 4 input remote expansion or a 16 output 4 input remote expansion. Since these are WeCan X, I can have duplicates of these. The next is the howler button, which just adds a WeCan X howler. Again, I can have duplicates of these. And lastly, we have vehicle options, which is where you will add your CAN signals in CenCom Core. Check out the vehicle inputs video for more information on this. That pretty much covers everything with CenCom Core's My Hardware screen. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more Wheel and Command Pro Tips.